We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk. We need to talk.
Welcome back to Me to Talk, episode number 87. I'm MR.KOA alongside
Top Boy.
And we got a short man in the building.
Wow. That hurts me. That hurts me already. It's your boy JB at Don't Cheese Me. Hello. I'm glad we got that out the way.
That was a nice segue into the name, though. Like, Don't Cheese Me.
His username is Don't Cheese Me, because we've been cheesing them.
For like a long time now.
Short man complex.
Wow. No Tory. No Tory.
Nah.
I keep it.
John is a good friend of mine from university. A friend of the team, university team. Shout out to the DG team. Yeah, you've been a long listener of the podcast since I started it, pretty much. But we never had you on. You sent me little DMs and talk your shit in there.
Yeah, 100%. I'm like, yo, y'all missed this thing or whatever. So I'm glad we did this.
I'm glad to get you on finally. You're working with F1 stuff now, which is not a typical market for Black people specifically. But you've been doing your research, you've been doing your education, you bust your ass to get the role. And how's that been going for you?
It's been dope. It was built like kind of like a happy accident.
People don't know what F1 is. Just tell them what is F1.
So Formula One is, in many people's opinion, the top.
Hold the mic up a little bit higher.
Here? Okay, cool.
Yes, sir.
The top. My bad. The top racing circuit on the planet. It's the top 20 drivers in the world, no matter what you do. There's obviously NASCAR, Indy, North America, but Formula One is global. They travel all over the world. It's internationally televised in virtually every country. And I was raised like an auto racing guy, an F1 kid since I was really, really young. And long story short, I ended up getting invited out to do like an intro episode for TSN's Racing Pod, like a season preview. And, I did my thing, God is good. And they're like, hey, you were great. We'd like to have you back. And about 2-3 episodes in, they were just like, how do you feel about doing this every week? And I was like, yeah. Absolutely. So it's a weird kind of surreal thing to like see your name on like, I don't know, a website like TSN. Like TSN is still a big deal, but when you're a kid and you love sports, you watch that every morning growing up, hoops, soccer, whatever. So to see my name on the website is pretty cool, but to talk about racing in a circuit and in a sphere that it's not very diverse and not as diverse as it could be. Yeah. I'm proud of rep, so enjoying it.
Yeah. You and I have talked a few times.
The mic higher. I know you're short, but your arms aren't short.
Okay, I'm gonna hold it. So keep it like right here.
Keep it where a mic is supposed to be.
All right, bet.
Where a mic is supposed to be.
Not by your chest.
Be right here. I'm gonna keep it.
You're not rapping though.
I'm gonna keep it right here. Hello, cool.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. What were you gonna say somewhere? Sorry.
No, we've talked a few times in the DMs about Formula One, because I was the same way. I grew up in England watching the Grand Prix like every Saturday, Sunday. I'd be watching it. Big fan of Michael Schumacher growing up, and then I literally talk about Lewis Hamilton every week on social media at some point, because what this guy's doing right now is incredible.
So I've seen your post about it. Why is he the best athlete in your opinion?
I said he's one of the best Black athletes. Like, first of all, I consider these guys athletes.
Yes,
100% they are.
I had someone came in my DM.
How is a driver an athlete?
Yeah, he's trying to say that he wasn't.
Go ahead.
Well, okay. Aside from,
I'm not arguing. I'm just saying people are gonna be like, he just drives.
They have to do things. There's things that are physically required of them that are also required of other athletes, right? So it's the same thing. He's still got to cut weight. He's still got to do all these other things to make sure that his body's in prime condition, right? Because you need to be under a certain weight in order to even be in these vehicles to begin with. If we're just talking strictly mental dexterity, because every sport has that, right? We talk about an athlete being able to, like a ball player, being able to break down a play and like see what the other team's doing and read it and react. They're doing that while driving, like literally controlling a vehicle that could quite honestly kill them at any moment. Like,
and at like 290 kilometers an hour too. Like they're flying.
I don't think people can
on the steering
fathom like how fast that actually is.
What actually defines a sport? And I think that's what people need to understand. Because when people are like, oh, like, yeah, because he's just driving, how's a sport? I think like I'm not gonna get the actual definition of sport, but I really think it's anything that people are athletes and people are determined or deemed as athletes when they can do things exceptionally well.
Yeah,
that's literally what makes someone an athlete, a superstar, professional per se. Everyone drives their cars on the highway, but you guys are driving at 120, 140, 150 max if you're going crazy.
Yeah.
over 200. Now you're working on your body control. You're working on your eyesight, speed, like decision making, certain things that humans can't even do at 100 kilometers an hour. You guys are getting accidents on the fucking Gardner. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, that makes you an athlete and an exceptional human because you're able to, you know, make these decisions at a high speed and basically be good at it. So I don't necessarily personally watch racing, but I've been to a race before. And just talking about it or seeing on TV is one thing. When you're there and you see a car fly by you, and you're like, "There's a human in that."
Like, it's mod.
That's not a fucking robot. There's a human that just flew by me in that little.
And if you ever watch those like onboards, they'll literally be going down the straight and they're making adjustments to engine settings, brake bias, like in real time. Like there are people that like spill food while driving on the Gardner. And this guy's like, switch. Got to change my brake bias for like turn 8. And the other thing that people don't realize is the G forces that they have to put up with in the cockpit as well. Like the Netflix show that's now out has done a really, really great job at starting to illustrate like how much training goes into being an F1 driver. But I'm talking
what's it called? I don't know this.
It's called Formula One Drive to Survive.
Drive to Survive.
Yeah, I know. So it's about.
That's not scary at all.
It's wild because this company called Liberty Media purchased F1 about 2 years ago, and they've done a lot to really start to like improve their global outreach and to reach our demographic more. I've had so many new fans hit me up and be like, "Yo, JB, like I watched this Netflix show and like, okay, I used to kind of like make fun of you for watching this racing thing every weekend, but it's kind of crazy. Like I really mess with it. It's really dope." And the kind of like you were saying, like the physical aspect to it, how they have to train the neck muscls these guys have to have. So they were in Turkey this weekend, and there's a turn called Turn 8 that's legendary, and it rained this weekend, so it wasn't as crazy, but you experience up to 5 Gs for like 4 seconds straight. Right. So they're talking about how some drivers had to improve the padding in their seat. And this one guy, Max Verstappen, is like, I don't use padding.
That'll cave man's chest. Certain man's out there, I'll cave your chest.
You know? And he was like, I don't want padding in my seat. I refuse. My dad used to make fun of me. So this guy cranks around a corner. He's holding a steering wheel. He's going 280 to 295 because these guys go flat out around that corner with 5 Gs in your face.
These are kilometers, no?
Yeah.
Not miles.
No, kilometers.
There's a big difference, guys.
Oh, huge difference.
Anyone doesn't know the difference between kilometers? Open the fucking book.
I'm going to keep it Canadian.
280 miles an hour is a fucking plane.
Dios mío, But it's crazy. And these guys keep it together. Like I said, these are 20 different drivers that even, are there top drivers in F1 or they're like not as well performing ones? Totally. But they're all doing this around a corner. It's stupid.
In the rain. Like it's crazy.
Oh, and absolutely madness.
Speaking of that Netflix show.
They're allowed to drive in the rain?
They drove in the rain all weekend.
Yeah.
It does increase.
It has to be like, it has to be really bad
to stop it
for them to be like,
and they have 2 sets of wet tires. So there's a full wet and something called an inter. Now both of them have treads. And so that's the crazy part too. Every other tire they use doesn't have tread.
It's bald.
It's bald, and it's a series of like the rubber compound, how thick it is and how dense it is. Whereas the inters and the wets have tread on it, but like you watch them, they just skate across the track sometimes.
Wow.
They were still doing 290 yesterday. In the rain. In the rain on a track. It was nuts.
The Netflix doc was crazy though, because like you said, they did a good job of making it look very appealing to people that don't watch it at all. But what I like the most is they highlight the different drivers, right? Different teams. And the way that they portrayed Lewis, and I don't know if it's because they didn't necessarily have the rights to really interview him that much, but he was like this mysterious dude that was just whooping everyone's ass. Like they couldn't really talk to him that much. But you just, every week, you just saw these drivers that were like,
chasing them down.
We're going to try to beat this guy.
Who's this guy?
Can't beat him.
So I loved it. I mean, one just as a black dude, I was like, yes, like we're up front all the time. But it was great because part of it was rights. Mercedes and Ferrari didn't have the rights for it. But I also thought it was great because always, like, growing up, everyone watched like the Bulls. You know what I mean? Everyone watched the Lakers. But what about all these other teams in this league? So they focused on the mid-level teams, the mid-tier guys that were really battling it out. Because that's how you build an audience. That's how you get that intrigue. Yeah, sure, you're going to like Ferrari. Yeah, sure, you're going to like Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, sure, you're going to like Valtteri Bottas. But like, what about Haas? What about Williams? What about Racing Point and all the drama in all of their teams? Because There's a lot of money that goes into this
We're
sport.
almost done, ladies. I'm sure. I know we lost you guys.
You know what?
We're almost done, ladies. Are there a lot of females in the industry?
Not as many as there should be. I'll say that. So the Williams team was recently up until about
Are there female drivers?
a month ago. No, there aren't. Which
Okay.
and I wish. But
Yeah.
next year, F1's doing a thing where they're adding something called the W Series, which is a women's series, and they're going to be on, I think, 8 of the races.
Oh,
which is
nice.
great. It was wonderful for exposure. And we might touch on this later, but the same way there aren't as many women in the sport, it's challenging. It's also why there aren't many diverse people in the sport.
Yeah.
It's just one of these sports where you don't have the kind of access to it that everyone I feel deserves to have. It's a very one of those kind of like more elite sports. And
Yeah,
that's why
it's like a rich sport. Yeah.
yeah, when you're talking about like great athletes. Okay, I don't know what that was.
Yeah.
Was that me or you? Anyways, and when we talk about elite sports, shout out to Siri. I consider Lewis Hamilton the most prolific black athlete of all time.
Yeah.
And I mean that. And here's why I'll say it. Obviously, there are athletes in different sports that have done great things. But there are really 2 athletes, in my opinion, that deserve to be in that conversation. And it's Lewis Hamilton and it's Serena Williams.
Yeah.
Those are my only
because of where I know where you're going.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not just the dominance, because Lewis Hamilton has actually won close to 10% of all F1 races ever. That's how dominant he's been since he started.
Yeah.
But when you look at the kind of sport, right? We weren't supposed to be in this, right? Serena Williams broke down so many barriers and is winning at Wimbledon where like we weren't allowed to even show up at for however long in history. Lewis Hamilton is in a sport that's reserved for the financially and fiscally elite.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not in karting at a young age and can afford those parts and all those things, you don't get to be a driver because you don't get to practice. His dad worked 4 jobs when he was a kid to afford that cart. So to break those barriers, the racialized piece, and then still to dominate it, which is why I put him at the top.
I can. Yeah.
So that's the way I see it.
He said prolific. He's not saying the best athlete of all time.
I'm saying
There's
prolific.
a very specific word choice. And yes, there's better athletes in the world. There's better black athletes in the world. But again, their road to their path there was not as pushed against.
Yeah,
there wasn't as
not.
Being a black football player is easy. Being a black basketball player is easy as long as you're good. They'll toss you in and watch you.
Yeah.
Yep.
But there's sports where they're like, you're not supposed to play tennis.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even a tiger, like you're not supposed to play golf. Like what do you? This is an old white man sport. What do you do playing golf with us? Like so those sports. When you get in those sports and they don't like you and they hate you and you're good and they can't stop it, like
love to see it.
That's a knife.
Oh, 100%. Every week and he slaps them.
Yeah. Speaking of, someone mentioned like sports drama before. There's a watch bomb that just happened.
What do you do?
So apparently Chris Paul has been traded to the Phoenix Suns.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, it happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the deal sends Chris Paul and Abdel Nader to the Suns for Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeCue, and a 2020 first round pick. So he's gonna be playing with Devin Booker.
Yeah.
OKC
that's not that crazy.
It's not that crazy, but it just means that OKC literally has so many assets now.
That all went to OKC.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Aside from the players,
Is the pick protected?
It hasn't said yet. It hasn't said yet.
Okay.
But aside from
And OKC wasn't bad.
no, yeah, it wasn't. They weren't bad, but aside from the players that they got, you have to remember all the picks that they got from the Clippers in that deal, right? They have the most assets out of any team for like the next 10 years.
Yeah, shit. Dangerous.
So it'll be interesting to see where they go. But
Sorry,
it's
ladies.
OKC.
I'm sorry, ladies. I know you guys are. Some of you guys like basketball. There's a lot of girls like basketball.
Yeah.
And there's way more girls that are like. What was it? I think I was talking to. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I was talking to someone. He's like, "Yo, it trips me out when girls are like super educated about basketball. Like,
Really? I love it so much.
No, like he's like not that it should, but he's like most girls like they know a little bit. They know the favorites, blah blah. They make, but like when someone's talking about like packaging players and like he's like, what do you know about packaging? Like packaging deals and like it's very interesting. So I know some of you guys are into this right now, but I know a lot of you ladies are like, I don't know what the fuck these guys are talking about. So I appreciate you guys still listening out. I guess we can get to the question if you want.
Yeah. We got some new. Ryan posted a question this
week.
There
was a lot of interesting,
a lot of responses. Definitely want to get your outlook on it.
Okay. With that.
So the question was, let me pull it up. when was the last time you changed your behavior? Does someone need to accept who you are, or are you willing to change? So for this question, when you posted it, when was the last time you changed your behavior? Is this in general or in relation to someone else? Or
in general, just change like we do the same thing every day. We wake up, edit, do your thing. You wake up, you go to your job. Someone texts you, you talk, like you're not changing any type of activity behavior. Like I do what I do. I wake up, I make breakfast, I do this, I do that.
Yeah.
Someone's like, oh, you're a little too mean some more. You're like, huh, okay. Like you might absorb it. Like, oh, that was a little mean. Okay, you know what? I apologize. But then you might still do that again tomorrow, like to somebody else. Like not just not to her or him, because you're like, okay, fine. He complained about it, but I won't do it to you then. You know what I mean? But for the most part, we are who we are. You know, so I just behavior in general, communication with people, with yourself, changing any type of behavior, and then. The second part is, are you willing to change or something?
The second part is like, are you willing to change for someone else? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Or should they accept you how you are?
Yeah. Does someone need to accept who you are, or are you willing to change?
I think in everything, and in that question in particular, first of all, like, damn. But I think context is really important. So for me, it's a couple things. Like in terms of, what I change for someone else. Well, am I growing as a person, or am I changing to have them like me more?
To please them.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, am I exacerbating something here and going, well, you want me to do something here and that's why I'm going to do this? Or is this going to make me a better person, a better communicator, a better listener, a more driven individual?
Definitely.
Because if it's that, it's less of a change, and I view it more as
an adjustment. Yeah,
an adjustment, personal growth, and that improvement as an individual. So in some ways, like if I want to be like, I'm a digital analyst all day long and like Monday to Friday, and if I want to be a better analyst, if that means I have to attend more conferences or look at more data and consider how I extrapolate things and analyze it, does that mean I have to study a little bit more? Is that a change? Yeah, that's a change, but it's a necessary one. Would it be safe to say that in order for you specifically to change, you'd have to get some personal benefit? I think in everything that's true, but it depends on how you view that personal benefit. My benefit could be your joy.
Huh. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I could
if
be
you
like,
care about that.
Yeah. Like, and
if you don't care about that, that's not a benefit to you.
Right. And then for some people, I'll be like, hey, it's kind of selfish. But like for me personally, like if I have a partner, say in life, right, and she's like, I need this from you, and this helps me do X, Y, or Z, and she's important to me, and it's not an egregious ask or a wild ass lift or anything like that, but it's like, if this will make me a better person and I love you and we're going to build together, then her joy is a pseudo benefit for me because I want to support her and see her grow and become a better person. So that's what it would be for me. So if it's like, is there a limit to that? Yeah.
Is there a limit to the asks?
I think there is, but I think that also comes from say this is a relationship. I think that also comes from what your relationship is. Do the two of you understand and value each other in a way that you both want to grow?
Yeah. Long
term, maybe build a family, have kids, whatever it is. Because if so, there's a level of mutual respect that will also exist between the two of you. That I'll go, okay, I believe that you're capable of this and this will make us better, and here's why. And I think you can do it. Not, I want you to do this crazy thing that's going to have a negative impact on your life and your quality of life and everything else. And I'm just being selfish right now, but I want this.
Yeah, but nobody's saying that. I think,
you know what I'm saying?
But nobody's making a request with that as a tail.
Hey man, you'd be surprised. I've had some exes and I'm like, whoa, you want me to do what?
No, but they want you to do that, but they're not doing it with the intent and understanding and the actual awareness that this is not going to help you. They're just in that moment. This is what I'm looking for.
Yeah,
you're my partner.
Yeah,
you should be doing this. They don't actually.
I totally disagree.
I'll say that's a bit of a
I think you're giving some people like too much. I think you're giving a lot of people too much credit.
In what sense?
I think
you're saying they are thinking that it's going to hinder you.
I'm not saying that they're actively thinking it like this, but I think people know, like especially at this age, they know that if I'm asking you something that is considered wild, they know that, like they know, Ryan. They're not stupid because it's not that you and I are, the three of us in here, we're intelligent, but we're not so self-aware that everyone else is stupid, right? Like, I know that these other people are self-aware. They just choose to be ignorant and act like,
definitely moments.
Oh, I didn't know that. Like, it was gonna cause you. Yes, you did. Stop it.
I don't like this.
You know this. You knew that when you asked me this question or you asked this request of me, I wasn't gonna like it, but I was gonna do it because I like you that much more, and it's coming from you.
Yeah.
But if it was anyone else, I'd say no.
You know what? Yes, I think
You're being too nice.
No, because I think
Stop it.
No, you're right. You're right. There are women and men, but in our situations, women definitely know what they can get away with. They definitely know that I'm under your skin. I know you very well. You may not do this for someone else asking, but if I ask you, women are very well. They're like, Ryan won't normally do this. Zamora won't normally do this. John won't normally do this.
Yeah.
But he loves me.
Exactly.
I definitely think they're like, he loves me. He'll do it.
There's like that card that they play sometimes. And for me, it's just like, and this is something I've had to learn about as I got older and started trying to be more reflective and learn about myself and everything. But it's like, to an extent, I want a partner that will be willing to do that, but will also understand that line of like, okay, how much of this is
abusing me?
Yeah, literally though.
You're abusing me.
Like, how much of this is within reason and how much of this is like, I'm just being selfish right now. And it's like, if you as a person don't have that and you can't consider that element, then maybe you aren't the person for me that I should be trying to build with anyways.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm not gonna get all like deep philosophical, but like, we ain't getting any younger. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you can if you want to.
I'll skip some of it. But like, we ain't getting any younger. I'm not trying to just be out here, wilding the rest of my life. You know what I mean? Like, you want to have that person that you have that you can build with, and it's foundational, and you're on the same page. And when something gets more difficult, they're willing to put in that work and understand that not everything is Instagram posts and flowers and dinners out and whatever. But in those hard times, if they're willing to, like, they won't just talk about it, but when it comes to the application, they can actually deliver, because some people will be like, when it gets hard, I'm with you. I got your back. I'm with you. And then it gets hard, and they can't hang. That's that's regardless of gender,
So I have a question for both of you guys.
All right.
Okay.
Have you ever requested someone to change in a way? Have you ever requested, I feel like in most scenarios, I've been asked to like, oh, I don't like you do this. I don't like you doing this. I don't like you. And then you're like, okay, all right. And you find ways to kind of, but like, I don't ever catch myself being like, I need this from you. Personally, I feel like maybe I should start doing that, but I feel like I've always just let people be, and I might want them to do something different or something or kind of, but I don't know if I never got to the point where I have it in me to be like, I'm going to tell you.
I think I have a reason why you don't do that.
I need you to do this for me. Like, I've never brought myself to do that with anybody.
I think I know why.
Ever.
I think I know why you've never done that.
Why?
Though. I think it's because deep down you know that person like isn't the long-term person for you.
You know what? As someone who knows you as well, I concur.
I think I've only, because you asked a question, have you ever requested? I have been asked as a man more times to change than I've ever asked a woman to change anything about her. Right? In all my relationships, I've only been in long-term, like minimum 2-year relationships. Right? And there's only been once where I've ever asked a partner to change something. Right? And it was more so because, yes, it bothered me, but it was more so detrimental to their own growth.
Okay. Right? And you saw that.
And I saw that. Right. So I was like, you know what? It would help me, but it would help you way more. And I truthfully meant that. Right.
What was it? Do you remember?
I do know what it was, but I don't want to like put them on blast on the podcast.
Sure. I respect that.
That being said, the only reason I knew that I had that conversation with them the way that I did is because I could see myself like long term.
Yeah, and you're like, this will help us.
Right? You were invested in that.
Yeah, whether or not seeing the long term is us continuing to date in the future or us actually being cordial in the future, we're gonna, that's the only reason I felt that way. versus the majority of people I've dated, like I don't communicate with my exes, like not on some hate shit or whatever. I just don't have a reason to, you know? So it stems from the fact that I see something more. Therefore, I'm like, okay, let me have this actual discussion with you.
Fair. No, that makes sense.
Right.
I can't say I've ever requested something of someone like that.
Yeah.
But I know what I have done is like encourage them to continue to grow. Like if there's something that I do or that I'm up to that I think has been beneficial for me, be it work ethic or something else, I'll do my best. And maybe this was more of a passive thing and I should learn from, but I've done my best to like help push them and support them to want to elevate themselves.
Yeah, but that's fine. I'm asking,
have I just been like
you
explicitly
need to structurally change this person? Like, someone, for example, easy examples, girls might be like, you know what? I don't like that you like girls' pictures. That's an easy example girls always do. I don't like that you're liking girls' pictures. Please stop doing that. And you're like, okay. You think about it, you figure it out. Maybe you do, maybe you don't, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Girl might say, you know, when we go to bed, I want you to cuddle me before we go to bed. And you're like, okay, don't normally do that. Fine. You know what I mean? Girl might say, you know what? I need good nights and good mornings. Yeah. You know, because I like when my man says good morning or good night. You don't really do that, but can you start doing that? And you're like, okay, don't really do that, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's stuff
I hear
that they're like, this makes me feel good. I like doing this. It shows that you care about me. Can you start doing that? And then you either choose to do it or don't do it, but that is not you.
Yeah.
You're not
that I've never done that. And
to them.
Yeah,
like
I
need this is something I like in a girl.
Yeah.
I need you to start doing this.
Yeah, then never. And it's because like for me, like I try to like
never.
then never. Like no. I mean like
why aren't we like that? I
personally, and maybe it's like a societal, like, you know, I try to be aware of someone's life journey, and they'll have like male dominance and all these things, and how that's trying to be more dissipated and people treated equally. Like I'll try to like vet a human so much that like if I'm gonna lock it down with her, or if I'm gonna get more serious with her, see her more than once a week, or more than twice a week, or more than once every couple of weeks, I've like vetted that you are already starting to align with what I'm looking for in a person without me having to ask you. Now, if I've gotten those fundamental things, and then maybe there's a modification, not a modification, but something I think could be improved to help us both, then I might have that conversation. But if it's something fundamental, like, you know, don't like somebody's picture, and we've all been there, you know, my brain immediately goes, okay, you have possible issues with your own self-worth. Because you might have issues with your own self-worth, you are now putting it on me, that me double clicking on a photo is suddenly an endorsement of me wanting to sleep with them, which is not accurate. Yeah. Just because somebody bad doesn't mean I'm like, oh, bye, I want this. Like that's not how it works for most of us. For most of us, that's not how it works. So if you already feel that way, then it becomes, at least how my brain works, I now have to start evaluating, okay, how deep-seated is this? Is this something I can help you work through and we build together and I earn your trust and you understand that it's different with me? Yeah. Or is this so deep-seated that you have personal work on yourself that you need to do that you may never even get out of? Yeah. Because for me in that point, then you're not the one for me. I'm already moving. Because if things... 100%. You know what I'm saying? Because if this goes the way I want it to in life and what I'm working on, I'm only going to keep climbing. Which means it's only going to get louder online. Yeah. So if you can't handle my, I don't know, however 1,000 followers I have right now, if you can't handle that, well, if I do what I'm supposed to do, we're looking at $500,000, we're looking at $1 million, we're looking at private flights, you know, hanging out with the mandem over here. You're going to see gossip tabloids and columns because people are just bored with their lives. Yeah. If you can't handle this, then that's going to destroy you. And this won't work. That's me. I agree with everything you said. I agree. I think, from a societal perspective, I think the reason why, because you asked like why are we like this? Like, why don't we really ask? You hit the nail on the head. I think typically there's definitely men out there who are trying to either control women to fit this image that they want, or they're vetting women the same way that he was just describing. And it goes like one of two ways. It's I vetted you enough to know, oh, like we actually align on everything that I want. Or it's I'm vetting you to determine if you're going to fit this model that I already have preset in my life. Yeah. It's like the guy that wants just the pretty girl, right? That's it. I'll take care of everything.
You just need to be pretty when you're around me. That's it.
Yeah.
I don't require anything more from you. You don't need to help me grow. You don't need to do anything. You just need to look pretty. You need arm candy. That's it.
100.
So there's a difference in what goes on between men and women in this respect, I think. Like, we're only speculating because we're just three dudes talking about it. But from what I've seen, you know, being in the industry, going out to nightlife stuff, that's what I see.
I mean, there are men that do request things from women, like the same type of deeply seated issues. Like, there are guys that are like, I don't want you wearing that. You know what I mean? The girl's like, what are you talking about? But there are guys that are like, I don't want you wearing that. Girls like,
I think it's wild.
And then they'll stop. But they'll stop. Like, okay, my man is like me wearing this, so fine, I'll stop doing it. There's guys that are like, oh, I don't like you hanging with those certain people. Those girls, you have a bunch of fucking slut friends. Like, I don't want you going out with your slut friends.
I'm gonna keep it 100 real quick. And like, if you a dude that's out here being like, I don't want you wearing X, then like, you ain't ready for that. Like, you're not ready for her. Like, straight up. Like, if you know you're doing your job, when she comes home, you're not tripping. Like, and if she goes out and acts ways and does something stupid and like, you know, whatever, maybe isn't faithful or whatever it is.
Stop it.
You know, one, you can't stop it, and two, she just let you know, homie, that she ain't the one, and you got to keep that shit moving.
Right.
She wasn't worth whatever energy you gave it, and that goes for both sides. You know what I'm saying?
So this constant like desire to try and protect your heart and try and stop people from doing certain things. If someone's gonna do it, they're gonna do it.
Yeah, she's grown, like, you know. But on the flip side too, there'll be an extent to what she'll be willing even to wear. If she's like, you know what, like, I respect my dude this much, and like, when I do this is the attention I'm gonna attract, and maybe
she has to be self-aware of that.
Totally, and you're totally right. She has to be self-aware of that. But like, that's what I look for personally.
Yeah,
like,
and
I have a gal that's like, oh, I'm like, cool, like, you know, maybe we'll whatever one or two times, but this ain't going anywhere.
Right. See, and that comes down to the vetting and conversations that you have with said
100%.
person before anything goes any further, right? Because, you know, I've had those exact same conversations with partners in the past. It was before. It's like, I've been as blunt as saying, look, I'm never gonna be that guy that's gonna tell you can't do this, can't go out there, you can't wear this, all this shit. Because I know me saying this means absolutely nothing. Because it's still going to happen. Like, you're gonna do what you want to do.
You're gonna want to do it regardless. You're gonna not want to be here.
You're gonna do what you want to do. I'm not gonna stop you from doing that. Even if I tell you not to do any of those things, you think that's going to stop men from still hollering at you?
Nothing.
No. Men will holler at you if you're wearing a sweatpants and a hoodie.
They will find a way.
Find a way. Like, it's going to
find
happen.
a way.
So as long as, going back to what you said, if you're more secure about yourself, then those particular issues aren't really a thing, right? And then it comes down to that other person saying, well, my partner has given me all this leeway, but I respect them enough to maybe tone it down a little bit. You know what I mean? And I've had to deal with that in the reverse, you know, like having, I've talked to some of my boys about this, like having a lot of female friends sometimes fucking sucks, bro. Like, it really does in terms of getting into relationships, because I've just noticed this common theme that there's always like something weird that your partner will always feel some type of way about you having a lot of female friends.
It's because they don't trust bitches.
I don't know what it is.
They don't trust those type of girls because they don't know them.
Yeah, they don't know them yet.
I think that is the biggest thing, because until girls know who these girls are, they're just bitches to them. And there's like a bunch of bitches around my man. I don't fucking know.
But this is the thing though, right? Like, because like I said, I've been in long-term relationships from my early 20s till now. I'm almost 30. And it's like, if I could go back in time and look and just see like a timeline of my dating life, I'm seeing myself progress in terms of how I deal and go into these relationships. Because the one thing that's remained constant...
Protect your heart, Kings. Yeah. Protect your heart.
Because the one thing that's remained constant is me still having a lot of friends.
The girlfriends remain.
Yeah,
the girlfriends still do not.
Right? You know what I mean? Girlfriends remain, girlfriends do not. So,
100%.
So the thing, I know some of you can like emphasize that a little
100%,
bit. But my thing is, as I've gotten older, I've realized, look, I know that I know how this game can go. So I've learned how to manage expectations and mitigate certain things from the beginning.
Get ahead of it.
Get ahead of the
curve.
Have to.
Because the last thing
So I'm a whore.
No, I'm not. Yo, relax.
I'm
See what
kidding.
you're doing?
I'm joking.
In my past.
I'm out here talking about having friends, and this
I'm
guy says
kidding.
I'm a whore. Like,
No,
no.
yeah, I get it. You gotta get ahead of it. This is a situation. These are
gotta get
people I
ahead of it.
have. These are friends I've had for years.
Yeah,
If you need to meet them, meet them.
yeah.
I need you. You know what? I need you to meet them because they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's been proven that they're still here and I'm still single or whatever. Like, so they're clearly not going anywhere. So if it makes you comfortable, if you're worried about it,
Yeah.
I need you to meet them. If you don't care, even better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just from jump.
Yeah.
Do you think women meeting other women is actually a benefit?
No.
Do this.
Go ahead.
No.
I'll take a real quick answer. I think I almost agree with you.
I think it's better than nothing.
Yeah, no,
that's the problem.
True.
Absolutely.
I think it's just better than nothing.
Absolutely, it's better than nothing.
Because then their head just runs.
Listen.
Yeah.
Absolutely, it's absolutely better than nothing.
Right.
And no matter how many times you introduce a partner to your female friends,
Yeah.
it's always fucking nerve wracking. even though there's nothing
happening.
to be concerned about.
Yeah.
It's always nerve wracking because I feel like there's a part of your partner that says, this is like my territory now, you know?
What do you mean?
So like your partner, okay, imagine roles were reversed, right?
Yeah.
And you're with
meeting
your
a bunch of
girl and
mans.
she's got a bunch of like
Mans.
that are all her friends.
Right.
You don't even know these guys,
Yeah.
right? Which is rare in today's day and age.
Right.
There's a brand new men that you're meeting.
I've never seen them.
Like, just instinctually, there's a part of you that's gonna go like,
They want to fuck my girl.
No, but I gotta be honest, that doesn't bug me though.
no.
I'll be like, what's up?
Maybe not to that extent,
Yeah.
but you're essentially now like the new,
You're coming into their space.
yeah, like you're this new kind of like
Element of
alpha,
testosterone.
like walking into their territory. Like to those guys, that your partner may just be like the homie.
Yeah.
And they're looking at you like
Like, who's this guy coming in?
who's this guy? You better not fuck her over,
Right,
kind of thing.
yeah.
So there's an element of like defensiveness
Got
going
you.
on. So think about it the
Oh,
opposite
so
way.
you're saying your girlfriends are kind of like, okay, who's this?
Does that element, the girlfriends are looking at it like, oh, okay, we're gonna vet her now,
Yeah.
right?
Which is true.
Because
No,
they're
it's
looking
true.
at it from a different
Of course.
perspective.
They're going to talk to you after.
And then your partner is also feeling the same way that I just described, where she's looking at all these girls like, oh, like
Do I have to impress them kind of thing?
I may have to impress them, or I'm now coming into this
Right.
environment. I have to establish myself.
Got
kind
you.
of thing,
Yeah.
know?
This is why I vet meticulously. And I continue to learn though, because like even like in the last like 2 years, like I thought I had vetted really well, and then found out not like Jay, you didn't. You could have done better than the questions and things that you thought you established with female X. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What did you miss?
How willing she was actually to put work in.
What does that mean?
So
It's very generic.
yeah, I mean,
That could be in bed.
shout outs
that could
to the podcast. Oh no, I mean,
that could be anywhere. Work in, put work in. That could be her own work
for
into
me,
your relationship.
For me, what I'm looking at when I look at a woman that I might meet and we might get serious is I'm trying to establish long term. And me personally, we've all got friends that have had broken families or different parents or step parents. I'm only trying to do this once, like straight goods. And at this point, I'm at the end of my 20s pretty much. I ain't really trying to gallivant like men's used to. Like I'm really just not about that life anymore. I haven't been for a while, but it's a combination of things. So what I said I wasn't willing to put in the work, and it's the self-development. It's the maybe standing up for themselves in situations where you're not,
So this is personal work.
Yeah.
Not working to you.
No, not working to me, but working to themselves, which contributed to us as a unit, is the way I see it.
Yeah.
That was a challenge, and there ended up being a larger disconnect than I was aware of. Like I said, there are going to be rainy days, but are you willing to stick through it, or are you just going to quit? Or are you going to listen to some friend you met 6 months ago that suddenly is the most important person in your life, and they've swayed your way of thinking, and you're like, ow, they just got here.
I hate friends.
Like they just fucking got here, and they suck.
Yeah, Chris Rock said it perfectly.
Yeah.
On his last stand-up, he's like, relationships really aren't hard.
Yeah.
It's not hard at all. He's like, all you're supposed to do in relationships is fuck and travel. That's it. That's it. Like, you do those two things, you'll be good.
Yeah.
And he's like, relationships are only hard when one person is working on it.
Yeah.
Which is like the realest thing I ever heard. Like, and until you've been in like relationship situations where you understand that, it's really not that difficult.
Right.
You go through life shit, things happen. and you just kind of learn how to deal with it, because you would deal with it the same way whether or not you're with someone or not, in like when life hits you.
Right.
But in terms of a relationship, both people got to work on it. Otherwise, it's not going to work.
That's the thing. You got to have someone that's going to be working on themselves. And like I said, on themselves. And in so doing, better builds the two of you together to establish that. Like, that's the way I've always seen it. So like the dudes and the new, being the new guy to a group of guy friends, if girls there, there's that funny saying, like, I don't even know if it's a saying, but it's like, alphas think they're alphas until a real alpha kind of walks in kind of deal. Like, and maybe it's different for athletes and anyone that's competed in a competitive sport, be it rep basketball, be it college, be it pros or whatever. It's just different in different environments. Like GG fam, right? There are a bunch of dudes in that room that are all whatever for their different reasons. You know what I'm saying? But everyone, for the most part, kind of figured their way out and figured out how to navigate those different groups. And I always used to say this when we lived in Ottawa, it was different. Like if you're from Southern Ontario, you're from the T, if you're from anywhere else and you go up there, it feels different. Almost in every circle you're in, you're like, oh, okay, but like you guys don't do this stuff. It's just no disrespect to the city. I spent 10 years there. I learned a lot, but it's just different, Yeah. So when you go to those different friend groups, if you just keep it 100 and you're yourself, I'm not tripping. Whatever guy that might be in the corner feeling ways about something, I'm like, all right, that's your problem. That's literally not my problem. Yeah. And you can be in her ear all night long. Well, guess what? I'm dealing with it all night long. So I'm not tripping in any way, shape, or form. Yeah. And if anything, it might just expose someone else's insecurity, but not my own. Because I love me some me. It's called T.O. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm me and that's it. Yeah. And that's all you can really control.
100%.
It's like a very real conversation.
Listen, bro, there's so many layers to this, man. And I think I just posted a video about relationships yesterday, and it's frustrating because it's gonna sound funny. I wish it was normal to have a dating stage, a relationship trial stage, and then a relationship, and the reason and then marriage and so on and so forth. But because what I've experienced is that in the relationship stage, because there's no trial stage, in the dating stage, everyone is on their P's and Q's. Everyone says what they need you to say. You can vet them all the fuck you want. You can ask all the questions. Yeah. You can put them through the test, bring to your friends, family, and they just knock, and you're like, yo, okay.
And then
Then when you're like, okay, let's go over the hump. Let's date. This feels right. And you're still like looking around, you're like,
so I can't answer queries using your home address.
Shut up, Google.
I don't even know.
No, it's behind the couch.
Shout out to Google Home.
Thanks Google Home.
Shout out to Google.
Then you're like, okay, let's go over the hump. You're looking around, you're like, everything seems okay. It's a little quiet, but you're like, this seems right. You get into it, it's rolling, and then things get exposed. Things just get exposed, and I'm starting to understand and starting to realize there are certain things people won't do, won't say, won't request just because they're not your partner yet. And they feel like they don't have i.e. the right to do so. They don't have the place. They don't feel valued enough to request something like that yet. But once they are, then the real things they want or the real things they feel come out once you're in a relationship. And then that is where you hit the fucking wall where you're like, can I do this? Can I do this? Am I willing to do this? Am I not willing to do this? Stuff that even if you ask these questions potentially prior to dating, they might have said one thing, but they also said something because they're like, oh, you're not really my man, you're not really my girl yet. So like, I mean, that might change. But when you're in a relationship, this is actually what you really want because you're in it now. And I think if you had a trial period where the things can get exposed and you're like, that's what you really like. That's what you really feel like. I need to get it out of you. I need to date you. I need to really date you and see what you really like. To really get it out you. Like, you know what I mean? And I think that's what fucks up a lot of us because like people don't really show their true colors till you make them yours or they make you theirs because that's like, okay, like I couldn't really ask them that before because they're kind of doing their dating thing. I didn't really know you see other people yet.
See, I'll just ask. At this point, I demand, like, for me, it's like open conversations. And this is very recent. This is very recent for me. Because, like, it's like, you can ask all the questions in the world, right? And then the application's different.
You can ask whatever you want. Everyone has the answers. Yeah. And I was talking to my dad yesterday, actually. And he said one of the realest things. He's like, because he knows I ask a lot of questions. I talk a lot. He's like, ask hard questions. Ask questions that one, they've definitely never heard before. Ask questions that like, because the problem is majority questions you've been asked at this age. If you want kids, if you want this, what do you like, what do you not like? Do you get jealous? Like, yeah. Most of the questions you've all heard. But there are certain questions that you can't prepare for. There are certain questions, if you go up with a question that, and we've all experienced certain things, certain relationships. I have some questions that I'm like, I can ask a very fucking specific question that I've experienced to get a really specific answer. You'd be like, I've never heard that. Yeah, because I've actually experienced it in life.
Lived that.
You know what I mean? And I don't want to do that again. So what would you do in this exact scenario? You know what I'm saying? And I think if we start asking real tough questions based on things that we really didn't like and have experienced, those aren't questions you can just give me a blanket answer for. Those aren't questions you can be like, I already had this in the pocket. Like, no one's asked you this shit.
Yeah.
But you know what, to your point, I think, I don't even think some of the questions have to be, like, I agree with you. You do have to ask the hard questions, specific questions as well. But some of the questions don't even need to be that hard.
That's true.
And the reason I say this is because, like you said, some people don't really show you the entirety of themselves until you get into a relationship. And after really just sitting here taking what you're saying, even just asking someone while you're dating them, do you want a relationship?
Yeah.
Even like the way someone
even noisy me that's that.
The way someone will answer that question
Yes.
will let you know how the rest of things are supposed to go. Because quite honestly, a lot of people just fall into relationships.
100%.
You know, they do the dating and it's like, oh, this works. I see you like every week.
But they didn't actually want it.
But it's like, let's actually,
nice, whatever. It's consistent.
Let's ask about this. Like, do we actually want a relationship, or
do you want to keep doing this?
Do you want to keep doing this? Right? Where the expectations are still there, but it's different.
Yes.
You know, if you sleep with other people, let me know so that like we're making sure we're using protection. But
that is honestly one of the realest things for sure.
But it's like
well, the fundamental thing for all those things though is just that respect that exists. Because, for example, ghosting. I did not know ghosting was a thing. Like one of my homies was like,
"What do you mean,
bro?" Because I'm just not built that way. I don't do that.
Oh, you're not built to go. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Have you never been ghosted before?
So I think I got ghosted.
Yeah.
But here's
I feel like Lionel got ghosted, but didn't just start like, oh, maybe she's just busy. She's probably just.
But here's the thing. So like,
and you're busy, so you're probably like, oh man, we just haven't talked in a while, so whatever.
Like life goes on.
But you got ghosted.
But here's one that I was like, okay, I think I got ghosted.
Sure.
But here's how it happened. It was like, I didn't like. I feel like it was like a couple times like I didn't get an answer back. This is like a while ago, and I was like, all right, whatever. But like anytime I'd post something, it'd be like. Or I'd like get my DMs responded to when I'd post something. Yeah. So
from that person.
Yeah. So then I was like, what?
So you're here.
You're present and you're interacting with my content and you fucking with it and saying, yo, congrats on all this and that. But like if I'll send a text, I only do it like twice. Yeah. If after two, I'm already like, I'm keeping moving. Like I know what I am, so I'm gonna keep moving.
Two
like,
back-to-back haze.
Like it's like peace, like go with God. I hope you're well. Yeah. Or maybe a third will be like, hey, hope you're doing okay. Because I don't know what's going on in their personal life. Yeah. Hope you're good. Hope things are cool. If I don't hear from you after that, peace. Like good, no ill will, just good luck. Anyways, so a friend of mine got ghosted. He's like, yo, bro, like they full on ghosted me. And I was like, what? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, oh, well, she like, deleted me off this app, wouldn't answer texts or calls. And I'm like, well, what was the last hangout y'all had? I'm like, oh, we went to dinner like 3 nights ago. And I was like, okay. So did you drop her off? Yeah, I dropped her off. Okay. And then she disappeared. And he's like, yeah. And I remember talking to this one girl about it, being like, yo, like, what's up with this? She's like, oh, yeah, I'll ghost somebody if I don't want to talk to them anymore. And I was like, have we devolved that much as human beings that like we lack the ability to be like, hey, this was cool. I'm not interested.
I'm not interested.
Or like, I'm just tired of you. Move. Like the audacity is crazy to me.
I'm dying because Ryan and I have had a conversation about ghosting on this podcast like ages ago, like a while ago, and
I don't have that.
Essentially, like how fucked up it is, right?
Yeah.
And the other,
who these people? What?
Here's the thing. I think if I think really hard, I don't think I've been ghosted. If I have, then
you're unaware of it.
Super unaware of it, and I didn't catch feelings about it. I'm just gonna say I probably did get ghosted. I did a lot of ghosting, And yo,
Really? Okay.
yeah,
Tell me
like,
about this.
when I was younger, and like
Okay,
just as of the other day,
Yeah.
literally, I was sitting at my desk doing some editing, and I was waiting for the project to like render. So I just had some time to kill, and I was literally sitting there scrolling through IG, and I thought to myself, I'm like, yo, I can't believe I used to ghost people. I actually
You just
said
thought about it?
yeah, like full disclosure,
Yeah.
I came across someone.
Oh, you're like, oh, that's where they went.
And I was like, oh man, I totally ghosted this person back in the day. But like, I really sat there, and this is a growth moment. I really sat there,
Proud of you,
and I
proud
said
of
to
you.
myself, yo, Zawar, that was really shitty, bro. Like, it's actually like, like I understand there are definitely some circumstances
Where
where
you're like, I'm not trying to have this conversation.
where ghosting
Yeah.
someone is probably the best thing that you can do,
Right.
especially from a woman's perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
dudes. I mean,
If there are cases,
Yes.
there are cases for us too.
But there are definitely sometimes you don't want to know why I'm stopping.
yeah,
Like,
I'm doing it because I
You
can't
don't
really
want
tell
to.
you
You
why.
don't want me to tell you why
Yeah,
we're never seeing each
but
other
I
again.
really, I really sat there for like a solid like 4 minutes,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Yo, like, who were you, bro?" Like, the thing is, yo, because if you really break down like
Yeah.
how ruthless ghosting
It's
is,
crazy.
It's
because
wild.
we live in a world now where we're all
Everything's instant.
we're
Then-
always connected to the internet. So
On
for
their
you to
side, they like, I know you see this.
yeah, so
Yeah.
for you,
Yeah.
so for you to say,
voting on my stuff,
Yeah, so-
interacting with thought box things I put on my Instagram.
but
and I'm
forget
like,
that.
No, he's saying like, out of here.
No,
just gone.
The next level is because there's that level where
Your,
like,
your,
you're not.
your ghosting was like, that was B level ghosting.
Okay. Oh,
Our
okay.
ghosting we're talking about
Okay.
is
I'm lucky.
I
I'm a
just
lucky one.
saw you yesterday, and now you never even hear or see from me ever
That's
again.
wild. I don't have that.
until you
I don't
just
have that move.
until you just give up.
I don't have that move. I don't
Like
post
you
it.
just
I don't compute.
like you text so you text me so much by yourself until you're like, I need to stop.
I'm talking
Yo.
to myself.
I need to stop.
Jesus Christ.
Do you have a
I don't have
bad ghosting story?
I know
We're
you
gonna,
do.
we're gonna,
I
we're gonna
know you.
Ryan, we're both gonna tell a story. I'll tell.
I know you do.
Okay, I got
no
one. I got
doubt.
one. I
Okay,
got one.
go.
I'll tell you what you think. This is the one that came to my mind the other day, right?
All right,
So
all right.
basically, I goes to this person like it was full disclosure, definitely before my last relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like, but I goes to this person years ago, and what makes the situation crazy is now, in like the last 2 years, we don't talk, but like try to interact on my Instagram every now and then, and every time I almost part of my head goes, yo, like I fully ghosted you and you're still interacting with my shit. And I thought back to that moment when it happened. You know, we weren't even really dating. It was just a scenario of
just seeing
just
each other.
hooking up.
Yeah.
So yeah, hooking up. Might have gone out to eat like once or twice, but that was really it. And at the time when I was younger, every time we would hook up, you know, we would do the regular foreplay thing, right? And this definitely was during that whole phase of my life, right? So what?
Sure.
So what happened is when
I
we
bet you it was prolific.
so when we
Prolific.
so when we were hooking up, the first 2 times we hooked up, she just wouldn't like go down on me.
Mm.
And that was hella weird to me, right? Like, I was like, I've never experienced this before.
Yeah.
Like, this is so weird, you know? But we did the whole foreplay there.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
did, you know, I did that.
Did your
Like,
job.
I did my job.
So you went down, she didn't.
Yeah, but then we'd start having sex and it was great.
Okay.
But like that one thing used to throw me off
She
every time.
would never do it.
Never do it. Right?
Okay.
And I was like, what the fuck?
Reciprocate always.
Did you ask?
Always.
So?
Did you ask?
So?
It's weird to ask.
Yeah,
In my opinion.
it is. No, yo, it's hella
I
weird.
can't do that.
Ryan, hold on, Ryan.
I can't.
Right.
So you gonna give me head?
No, not like that. Not like that.
No, I'm saying I can't do it.
No, hear me out. It wasn't like that. I never once asked.
I'm not saying you do it. No, I'm just saying I can't even do
I
that.
never once asked in the middle of sex. But what I'm saying
It's
is,
my turn.
it was like it was. Ew.
Put it in your
Ew,
mouth.
that's gross. Like afterwards,
Yeah.
I think, you know, a couple days later, we were texting, And I just brought it up. I'm like, yo, I noticed this thing that's been happening. Is there like a reason why? And she ends up telling me that she's like, and this is why I roll my eyes, because it could easily just been an excuse. But she said she was intimidated because, you know, when I did my job,
you were proficient.
I was great.
Yeah.
And she got like a little intimidated by it. So I was like,
so then ask for advice and tips.
So I was like,
the internet's there.
So I was like, okay. I was like, okay, whatever. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You know, like, no problem. I try to like but I try to like reassure her.
It's a huge deal.
It's a huge deal. But what I'm saying,
you can't say that. You have to be like, oh, it's okay.
What I meant by it's not a big deal was you don't have to be so like worried about it.
Oh, you're saying like don't overthink it kind of thing.
Don't overthink it kind of thing. Right. So we had this conversation. It went great, right? The next time we have sex,
no adjustments.
No adjustments for me.
Oh no!
Literally,
I thought we got each other.
Time out. Back on the floor.
No adjustments.
No changes.
No adjustments for me.
Right after the timeout. Got it? Yes.
No adjustments were made.
Still pulling a 3-pointer.
So then literally, like the next week after that last incident, I just wasn't like responding.
He was over it.
I was over
it. Just stopped.
I just stopped, right? And this
what was the last message she sent to you, if you remember?
You know I remember, because I think I talked about it. Like, this is why I genuinely am so disappointed with myself from that time.
Like, I'm a bad person.
Because and it like haunts me, bro. The last thing she ever said to me was she said, so you're just not gonna respond?
No, and you didn't. Oh my god!
And he saw it. He looked at it.
Wait, do you have red receipts on? Like, was it a red receipt situation?
No, that was probably back in the day. It was probably just texting.
Okay.
But like, that means he's
how many question marks?
It was just one.
Yeah.
It was
she was just so serious.
She's like,
just not going to respond.
She's like, so you're just not going to respond? And I was, at that point when I saw that message, I was like, I definitely can't respond now, because
now it's too late. I can't say something now.
Oh my god!
Because now you got me.
Now it's real. Now I've admitted that I've acknowledged that I've seen messages and have ignored them.
There's no excuse I can say.
The thing is, you can't. The thing is, the main reason you didn't respond, I'm gonna tell you right now, and you probably know, the biggest reason you didn't respond is because I have nothing to say. Because if I respond to this and say, like, what am I saying? Oh, my bad for the last 5 days.
Because you know when things do that, you're like, fuck up.
Like, so like, there's really nothing I could say. So let me just leave it here.
I never,
that's funny.
When I say it haunts me, because
you kill me, bro.
Because it happened. And I think I just repressed that moment. Like, I knew it was so bad what I did.
Like, this just needs to go in the dark.
I was like, I'm just never gonna discuss this ever again. And then years later, we'd always follow each other on IG, but years later, she just started like interacting with my shit.
They just forget.
And I
got a theory on that.
I don't think they forget. I'm joking.
I mean, like, I think it's like
they don't forget.
Well, of course not. Definitely
no one forgets.
No one who never gave top and then like got told about it and then still didn't do it and then got disappeared on forgot. Like, she remembers for sure.
She knows. She's probably sucking dick like crazy.
I mean, she started. I'm sure she started doing some homework. Like, I don't know her. Listen, I'm sure she listens. If you listen, hey, I hope you're doing well, boo boo, and I hope you're doing your homework, and I hope you've improved your skills.
Like the thing is just, you know, we had the conversation, and when we were having it, it wasn't a super serious thing to me.
Right.
I was just like, why does this not happen?
It's just, this is weird.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just us having sex. It's not like it was anything serious. I was like, why does this not happen? She told me, I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, you don't have to be worried about it.
Yeah.
The next time we have sex,
she still
no adjustments. So in my head, I'm like, okay,
this is never gonna happen.
It's never gonna happen again.
Yeah. I've reached the pinnacle of what this will be. You reached the peak. You were like, all right, there's more available.
So I have a lot of those. I have a lot of ghost moments. I'm just gonna pull the easiest one. I used to bring girls to comedy shows a lot. That used to be like my go-to first date. Like, for me, comedy shows are like, you get to laugh with somebody. You get right. I feel like comedy shows tell you so much about a person. If you bring a girl this might be a gem. If you bring a girl on your first date to a comedy show, whether it's a good or bad, doesn't even have to be a good show. Just good or bad. At that moment, you can tell their humor. You can tell what they find funny. If someone's laughing at something you don't find funny, you're like, okay.
Oh.
You find that really funny? Like, it's just like you're cackling. Like without telling you a lot about your girl right there, you'd be like, if you're straight faced and they're cackling, you're like, check. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, it's a moment for you to really kind of just you're already laughing, guards are down. After the show, you can kind of talk about jokes. Like, it gives you like some context. And I love comedy shows at first dates. So I used to do that. So I brought this girl to a first date to a comedy show. Absolute Comedy. Great place. And
but you're a regular there, eh?
oh, I was. I definitely.
They like, did it get to the point though where like they knew you? They'd be like, oh, and they like look at you and like the new gal and be like,
The thing is, they would say nothing.
just play cool every
They would
time.
say
I hope you tip them nicely.
The guy at the front has probably seen me maybe with 5 different girls at least.
Love that energy.
And the thing
Good
is,
for you.
The thing is, every time he knows my name because I make a reservation, my name, blah blah. So I would call him, make a reservation. He's like, Ryan, yeah, number, yeah, let's do. Okay, cool. He knows it's me coming. Cool. I'll come. He'll see me come to the front. He'll see a different girl, whatever. He'll look at me. I'll look at him. He'll be like, for 2, yep. Give me the tickets. Enjoy the show. Like he would.
Oh, I love
he
that.
would not say. He would not be like different girl. Like
I would hail him so nasty.
He's not dumb.
Yeah.
Like,
I love that guy.
He knows it's the first date. Like, you're not stupid. You'd be like, oh, new girl. Like, I would punch you through the glass.
100%.
So you just be like,
night.
2 tickets, chat, whatever. So I bring this girl, get to the show, whatever. The comedy show was terrible. So these guys are just going up. It was amateur night, so they're just trying jokes, right? Going through some of the jokes, she's laughing hard. Not only is she laughing hard, she has an awful laugh, like an awful, deep, grunting laugh. And in a comedy show, if someone laughs loud, especially when the joke's not funny,
it's all you hear.
It's all you hear. So every joke that she found funny that was not funny, and I'm not laughing, she's laughing with the 4 other people in the room that found it funny as well. And the laugh is terrible. People are looking at our table. So I'm just looking straight and pretending like I'm not with this girl, whatever. And she's looking at me, and I can't hide my face.
Yeah, you're not.
I'm not that person.
It's a gift and a curse.
I can't hide my face. So she's full on blowing laughing, turns to me looking for approval, and I'm just staring.
Straight face.
And her laugh just slowly gets quieter and quieter.
How long were y'all talking before you went on this first date?
Probably like a few days.
Jesus,
it was the first date, whatever.
I've always heard that if you don't like someone's laugh, that's God's way of telling you to get the fuck out of there.
If I don't like your laugh, I can't do it. Mind you, beautiful girl. That's why it hurts so much. Beautiful. I'm like, why do you sound like that? Like, it was so frustrating. I'm like,
This guy said, why do you sound like
Why do you
that?
sound like that?
You're gorgeous. Anyways, after the day, she's like, oh my God, that was so fun. Thank you. I'm like, yeah, it was cool. She's like, yeah, so this was the point when I used to lie. Okay. I'm not a liar anymore, but this is the point I used to lie.
My guy RMC has changed over time, and I'm proud
They
of
don't
him.
even know the RMC name. They don't even know that.
Oh, they don't even know. Sorry.
No.
Mr. KOA.
RMC is my initials.
AKA
Ryan Malcolm Campbell. Which
AKA. So if anyone that ever says RMC for the record, I'm like, oh, so you know him. All right,
Yeah.
like,
That's
dap
like-
you up.
Yeah.
Oh my
people
God.
from like school know that.
Yeah.
Right? Anyways,
Legend.
so that was back in my lying days. So after the event, after the show, whatever, she's like, oh my God, that was so funny. I loved it. I was like, yeah, it was good. She's like, yeah, like, thank you for taking me out, whatever. And I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'd love to go on, like, literally like out of a movie. Like, I'd love to go on a second date.
Asked you in front of you.
Like a movie. Like, this was amazing. Like, I'd love to go on a second date. Like, you know, if you're down. I'm like, yeah, I'm down. And she's like, okay, great. Text me when you get home. I was like, cool.
You never texted her?
I get home, didn't text her. Next day, hey, good morning. Left it. Text me in the evening. I know you're probably busy, so, you know, I hope you have a good day. Left it. Second day, hope you have a good day. Left it. End of that day, I don't want to feel like I'm bothering you. Left it. On to the third day. These are messages to
Consecutive
her.
days.
These are messages to herself in this on the third day.
Oh, my heart breaks for her already.
On the third day, she sent, I can take a hint.
and you still didn't answer.
fuck?
Jesus.
What am I saying?
Lord have mercy.
I let that go.
And then she never messaged again.
Never messaged me again. And then we bumped into each other at a club.
That's okay.
And she acted like nothing happened.
See, that I don't like. That I don't mess with.
I was fine with it.
Wait, when I see someone that I bump into, and like, even if I like end it or whatever, or like, actually, what I would just tell you this. So like, there's one gal at one point. I used to work in the bar years ago, and it was very formative years because it turned me off going out real quick, and it just made me mature. But I remember seeing this one gal that like she tried a couple of times to like holler at me when I was working with her or whatever. I didn't see her for years, and then one day I'm at something with some other friends, and she's there with one of the other guys, and he's like, "Hey, I want to introduce you guys to my girl. I've been with her this much time." Now I knew her back in the day, and she walked up and was like, "Hey, nice to meet you. I'm so and so." And I'm like,
played stupid in front of you?
Yeah.
What's
to my face?
What is she supposed to do?
But she gave me a smirk.
What is she
beforehand.
supposed to do?
Well, hold on,
at
bro.
that moment?
Well, hold on.
No, but I rate her.
No, she gave you a smirk.
But wait. But she gave me a smirk, like behind stuff.
Yeah.
Then did the nice to meet you.
But her boyfriend's there, no?
Yeah. He's like, but wait.
What is she supposed to do?
This
At that moment,
wait.
I fucking rate her.
Fine.
What is she supposed to do?
Wait. So she does.
you.
Wait. So she does nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I can play ball.
Sure.
But then like later that day, I'm like getting a drink, and it's just me and her, and she goes, "So like, tell me about yourself. What do you do?"
No,
I'm like,
she's not still doing
You're a
this.
sociopath.
you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean?
She's
Like-
joking though.
Like I looked, no, but she was serious. But here's the thing though, I won't get into it. I ain't gonna expose. She knows me, and I know her.
Yeah.
And I looked at her and I went, "We're gonna do this?" And she went, "Do what?"
But she's really playing stupid.
And I just looked at her. I'm not joking. I turned and I just walked back to where the other dudes were. And that's like the last time we spoke. We a couple of times like, "Oh, hi."
Bro,
Probably like months later, but I was like, "Come on,
she was committed to her act.
we're good."
She was committed.
Yo, Oscar award.
Listen, she doesn't know.
I was like, "Are you serious?"
She's in the bar. She doesn't know who's listening at any given point. Yeah, you said it's just you and her. Ears are always
I'm
listening.
like, yo, like I know, I know you.
Yeah, but she can't bring out the character and be like, "Oh my
know.
god, thanks, John, for like."
I know you.
Nah.
Like I know you,
No,
and
that's
you
fine.
tried with me multiple times, and I was like, and I didn't ghost, but I was disinterested.
Listen, I fuck with it.
I couldn't believe
She
it.
walks over her man, and I see you. I fucking done it. If I
Because
was
I would tell my partner, I would be like,
bro, if I with a girl and
she has.
if I'm with a girl and I see a girl I used to slap, I definitely act like I don't fucking know you.
See, okay, so
I would be like, "Hey,
Not
how are
an
you?"
ex-girlfriend. Like,
I know. So, but here's the problem, right?
Right.
Here's the thing. The reason why that is so dicey to me is because
Well, she gets vengeful, man.
that's what I'm saying. Like, I can
I'm
understand. I can understand if a girl that I slept with in the past does that to me in front of her man, because my personality says I'm not the type to fucking be like, "Yo, you know me." Come on. But I personally feel that most women,
they can't consume that.
no, they would be
pure
like, "How
scorn.
dare you act like you don't know me?"
You were inside of me.
You know what I mean? Like,
laughed.
Ryan, you'd have to assert such
put it this way.
dominance in that moment to literally look at a woman that you smashed and say, "Nice to meet you."
I haven't said.
Her
While
face.
flashbacking, like cheeks clapping. You're like,
I haven't
hello, for the first time.
Just to clarify, I haven't said "nice to meet you." That is crazy. But I have.
Oh, it's the wording
I
now,
have
eh?
just.
It's the word.
It's semantics.
What's the wording you used?
Like literally, she was working at the bar. I came in with the girl I was with, and we made eye contact, and I literally just like, "Oh, can I just get two
I'd still say, "Hi, how are you?"
nah."
But I don't end things like nasty. Like I don't. I like.
It wasn't nasty,
I
but I'm
know.
like, I'm with the girl right now. She's at the bar. I'm like, she just knows there's someone here.
Everything about the
I was just
situation.
like, can I just get two
Everything about the situation from the guy's point of view is way more dicey than
100%.
Because even if you
It's
just
true.
said
10,000%.
even if he said like, "Hey, how's it going?" Like even the way that you say, "Hey, how's it going?" your current girl will pick up on that.
It's
And be
true.
like, "Oh, do you know her?"
and that's why I'm saying
And you're like, "Oh,
and that's why I didn't even be like, "Oh, like, hey," I didn't do "oh, hey." I just said, "Oh, hey, can I just get like talk to her like she's working?"
Like an employee.
She's an employee.
Hello, employee.
like an employee.
Hello, employee.
Employee.
Could I please purchase the services you provide here at this establishment? Thank you.
Yes.
Holy smokes.
Oh, I tipped her.
Here's your tip.
I tipped her.
Bye. No pun intended. Bye.
Oh man.
Tips it right on a napkin. Just don't talk to me. Don't talk to me for the rest of the night, okay?
I owe you. I owe you.
Let's not make this awkward.
Just let it happen. Just let it
See,
happen.
if I would tell, I would eventually just like mention, like if someone's like, oh, like, do you know her? And I would be like, yeah, I do. And depending on the dynamic I
Yeah, but
have with,
they wouldn't even ask you that unless they felt some way.
well,
No one's
I'm nice to I would like to think I'm nice to most people. So I'll still be like, I'll say nice. I'll be hi, how are you? So if you know them, I'm like, no, I'm just asking them how their day is because like they're a cashier and I bet you 90,000 people didn't ask.
You know what? There's only been one time in my life, and it was this summer where I ran into it wasn't a girl I was sleeping with, it was my ex, not Alex, not my previous ex. It was one from like ages ago.
Okay.
Right after high school, and me and my girl at the time was standing in line outside Death and Taxes, and basically my ex is with a bunch of other girls, and like that was the same day I saw what's her name.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna mention it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was standing
Redacted.
there, and I look back. I did like a double take. I look back and I look forward, and I was like, oh. Like,
Was she already watching you? Because she'd already like
she was already looking at me.
Love that.
Right? That's you know when you can like
Attention.
feel someone staring at you. So I like looked around. I was like, oh, true. And then she's like, hey, like how's it going? We had like a brief talk. My girl's standing right next to me as this is happening, and I definitely did not introduce them. But then after I had a convo with my girl, I was like, yeah, that was like my ex from way.
Why did you do that?
Because to
Why
me,
did you do it after?
Because he felt awkward, which means he knows that he wore the awkward. That's
Yeah.
what I feel.
You think
That's
she
what it was.
booked it? You think she booked it?
because because the thing is, she was staring at me.
Did you get shocked?
Yeah, and I was shocked because I was like,
And
why is this?
girls book the shock?
Yeah,
Even if you said nothing, if you just went, they're like,
Yeah.
yeah.
They're like,
went,
no, they.
Yeah, you are tense, sir.
Something happened.
Because you know what it was? While I was having that conversation, in my head, I was like, I don't want to be having this conversation.
Right now.
You know, like, not right now.
Oh, period.
Like,
Yeah.
it's not like we ended on bad terms.
Yeah,
none of
yeah.
Did
that.
she walk up to you?
No, she was literally
She's
in line
she's there.
right
You were
behind me.
stuck with her.
Yeah.
No, but
Love
it's like,
that.
it's like turning around. It's like,
Yeah. Oh, hi.
You know what
I have to acknowledge
I
your
didn't have a chance
existence.
to react.
And
And
the thing
I
is,
like, I
like-
didn't see you.
and the thing
It's
is,
like,
yeah,
And you did a double take, you said?
yeah.
Yeah, he had to tell his girl. He had, look at me.
double take.
He had to-
His girlfriend booked all of it,
100%. He had to
and
tell
her
her.
face was straight the whole time.
he had to tell her. I would have had to tell her.
She's like,
I told her after. I'm like,
Because
yo,
you've been like, why'd you double take that woman that was staring at you?
yeah. I was like, oh, that's my ex.
You gotta tell her.
Ages ago.
oh man,
I would, yeah.
what a time.
I feel you on that.
Do you have any questions for us in terms of this is your first time on the podcast? This has been a great episode. This is really funny.
My pleasure.
Yeah, any questions from you in terms of anything you want to get off your chest or something you've been dealing with that you're like you just want to bring up that we can kind of discuss before we wrap up?
I mean, I'm gonna say I think you guys are already gonna agree with me, but this has been a conversation I've had with different people, especially over the last year. Now that I'm finally back in the T and working and next step in my career and all those things, but I'm wondering how you guys feel about this. But to me, the age that we are presently, we have about, in my opinion, 2 to 3 years to push really, really hard. Career-wise, personal growth, and whatever. Not to put a timeline on when you're supposed to have a family and all these other things, but to me, there's a window where you're like, okay, how much have you done? Not that caps your ceiling, but it can maybe lower it a bit based on a career trajectory, depending on what you're doing for a living. So I've either had a partner or gotten more serious with a female and been like, hey, like, I would like to do this, or maybe I don't have the emotional capacity for everything you might need right now. But I need you to understand that I'm pushing really hard for my career for the next, 1,200 days, the next 3 years or whatever. I'm pushing really hard because if I don't do it now, some motherfucker that's 26, 27 is going to pull up when I'm up there being like, all right, you didn't eat any of that? Cool. Now it's on my plate and now I'm going to get ahead of you. Yeah. So it's like, as much as I'm dedicated and committed to this and trying this out, I'm not going to be there every night. We're not doing dinners every day, or I'm not texting you every 2 seconds in the middle of my workday, because that detracts from my ability to improve as a professional myself.
You shouldn't even be with someone who's requesting all that. But continue.
You know what I mean? But beyond that, if you are committed to this, you'll understand that I'm building for what could potentially be our future long term. So, but I've had a lot of people be like, yes, I agree. I've had some people be like, well, you know, or they say yes, and then after the interview process, they get needy. And I just wonder how y'all felt about that piece, or like the pushing, especially as black men. You know, nothing's gonna get handed to us, and we've all learned that in our own ways multiple times through our lives. Yeah. So I'm out here. I'm in an analytics sphere. I'm usually the only black person in the room, let alone usually only minority. So I'm pushing because no one's gonna give it to me. I have to put it so in your face that you can't deny me what I've earned at that point because of that. But consistently, I find, be it in our demographic, people go, oh, but I'm almost 30. I got to buy a house. And you're like, why? Like, well, because my friend has one. I'm like, okay, well,
that's not your life.
So what? Yeah. You know, well, I got to have a house by this age, and I can have
for what?
Yes, says who? I had a partner once that she was like, well, I want to get a house soon, and I was like, I'm not against it, but wouldn't it be also cool? And it was just me. I thought we were just talking. First of all, actually, maybe that's the question. Are you ever really just talking with your partner? Is there ever just a conversation versus it being serious? Maybe that's the question. Because I'll tell you why. No. Because she goes, I want a house. And I was like, that's cool. You know, not to expose anyone, but financially, knowing where I was and where she was as well, like, it just wasn't realistic. I don't think maybe she understood that per se, but I was like, it's not realistic right now. But wouldn't it be cool if, instead of like a house, we had a series of places elsewhere, be it some in Canada, maybe some stateside, maybe some in Europe? Wouldn't it be cool? And I just openly went, I don't know if I want a house. That's true and untrue. I don't know if I want one, but it would be dope to be like, oh, I'm going to Lisbon. Yeah, I got a condo. Yeah. Bet. You know what I mean?
Things it's like, probably more financially feasible.
It's also more feasible. Yeah. More fiscally responsible. Long term, maybe, like you can, would I rather spend, $800,000 on a house, or take that $800,000, split it up to a bunch of 800 or 1,000 square foot condos. But I thought we were having a conversation, and it came up months later.
So that's what you want?
I don't know what I want. Yeah.
No.
Or her. Yes. Yeah.
So that's what you want.
Well, she was like, you don't want a house. And I went, what are you talking about? I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, well, I asked you about houses and you talked to me about condos. And I went, I thought we were having a conversation.
I was just throwing ideas.
Because part of it, because I'm a documentary guy. I was watching this documentary. They were talking about sustainable living. They were talking about how in Asia, it's crazy. I think it's in Japan. The population of citizens above the 18th floor is the same with the size of the city of Chicago.
Jesus Christ.
It's insane. Yeah. But and there's so many more people. We're becoming more dense as a population. Houses are dope, and I'd love to be rich enough to have a dope ass palace. Don't get me wrong. I want that. But realistically, condos might be the move. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you can still have a really nice one that you're happy with. It doesn't have to be a townhome or whatever. So I said that as a part of the conversation. It was like, maybe condos. They flip better in Toronto anyways, just on, pre-COVID. That's just a thing. And it became up later. It was like, but you don't want a house. And I went are you telling me you sat here for 4 months and this is a part of why you're upset with me? Is that you don't think I'm invested in this because I don't want to buy a home because your friend bought a home, and no disrespect to them, they'll probably have a lovely life. But I can see the cap of whatever life they want. Yeah, I've already seen it. I don't want that. I want more for me, and I would want more for us. And I don't know. Is any conversation you have with a partner ever just a conversation? Maybe that's the question.
First off, that's a really, really good question, because it makes me think back in hindsight about shit that I've had conversations with. And I think yes, there are times where in the moment they're just conversations. The problem is
you're not allowed to have hypotheticals.
You can't. Yeah, people always
You're not.
People always have receipts in relationships for everything. So I can say to you, we're having a casual conversation, and my partner says, "Yeah, I'm not really a fan of you liking all this stuff on Instagram." And it's like, okay, cool, right? Conversation's not heated, it's cordial, we have it, right? Months later, she's doing the same thing. She's now liking dudes' photos. That tiny little conversation we had months ago that wasn't really that big of a deal when we had it, and I just made the adjustment. It just comes right to the front of the Rolodex now. And I'm like, well, when we had this conversation, you brought this up, right? So now I'm bringing it up. When you're with a partner, everything is recorded. whether or not you think it's not, is off the cuff, everything is recorded. Everything.
You don't just get to say things. I mean, we should be able to, but that's just not the reality.
Because like, I don't ever want to have to be that calculated with somebody.
It's not,
but that's, yeah.
I don't think it's not about the calculation. It's we don't say things we don't mean or aren't thinking.
True. Yeah.
So you have to, the goal or the ideal person is someone who's just as fluid as you. Where
100%, yeah.
If you say something like, yo, you know, I feel like getting condos instead of a house. Sometimes. Like, I mean, I might get a house or I might get a condo. And that person being like, you know, condos wouldn't be that bad. I also want, like, not that they even thought about that, but they can also understand the fluidity of what you're talking about rather than being set in their ways. Yeah. That means, like, you bring up a threesome with a girl. You're like, you know, like, I'm not saying we have to do threesomes. I'm just saying, like, threesome. If we did a threesome one time, that could be cool. Instead of her taking that as like, he wants threesomes right now, like she could be like,
that's a real taboo topic right there.
No, but I'm saying like, you know? it shouldn't be processed like he definitely wants a threesome. That's why he's bringing it up. No, like you should be able to process that. Like
my mind runs.
My mind's running, and so does yours. You might not say your mind when you might not say what's on your mind when it's running, but I'm doing it. When I say this, doesn't mean yes, I want a threesome right now. But you should be able to be like, okay, let's see how realistic a threesome could be. And we can have this conversation as a hypothetical. And I can leave that conversation knowing it'll never happen. And I'm not mad. And you should leave that conversation with thinking that he definitely still wants it. You know what I'm saying? You should like, we should be able to be like, okay, we didn't leave with any type of decision. This is talking.
The reality is when you date someone, and you've talked about it before, all you're doing when you're in a relationship is mashing these two separate lives together and trying to figure out how to make it work. No one's actually ever fully compatible. No one ever is. There's two. You can't be.
I don't know you.
You're two.
I've never
You're two
met
different
you in my
people,
life.
And you're like, okay, like what do we agree on, disagree on? What do we compromise on? Like, what do I like about it? That's all it is. And some things connect, but it's never fully a perfect piece.
Yes,
right.
But the problem is when you're in a relationship, I don't even know if it's really a problem. You just, over time, you end up knowing and learning things about this person that the majority of the rest of the world has no clue.
Right.
You know, like the rest of the world might know me as, you know, someone that likes to box or something like that.
Yeah.
But then my girl would know me as a guy that does all that, but also fucking likes to watch anime or some shit like that. And the rest of the world
we can talk anime for hours, by the way.
The rest of the world doesn't know that. But I use that as an example to just say that this person is always going to know things and remember things about you, things that you said that everyone else won't know. So even though you can have these off the cuff conversations with your partner and it's genuine and it's nice in the moment, they're always going to be remembered,
and they're always evaluating.
They're always evaluating. They're going to come up at some point.
Just to jump on what he's saying as well, you have to remember that, like, the same way you are evaluating your partner, they're evaluating you, which means you start to form an idea of your partner in your head.
Yeah.
After all the inputs you get from them every day, you're seeing them, you talk, you go on dates, you travel, blah blah. You're constantly inputting all this data into a final person that you're like, okay, for you to feel comfortable enough to be like, I know my girl, takes you some time. Until you're like, they might say something, you're like, no, that's not you. Like, no, but you have to be, but you'll never say that month 1, month 3, month 4, you know what I'm saying? But after a year, a girl might do something, you're like, that's not you. Like, for you to even be comfortable to tell someone, why are you doing this? That's not your character. Like, that means
that takes time.
It takes time, and you've been evaluating their character. Yeah. I know what you do. Yeah. I know how you dress. So if we've never had issues with you with your titties out before, ever, And now you chill with your friends for a couple days, and now tomorrow your titties are out. Not saying you can't have your titties out, but that's not you.
Yeah, what happened?
You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you can, but we've never had this issue before, and now you're doing something that's very different. And maybe they don't know this because they don't fucking know you. I know you, and vice versa. You know what I'm saying? So these ideas we throw up, yeah, they're not solid, but for the most part, if Zamora says, you know what, I kind of want to do this, or I'm kind of thinking about that, or you say, you know what, condos is kind of the wave still, or I say something about, I would love, to have an athlete kid or whatever, like, you know me enough that, like, he probably wants that. Like, it's, he doesn't need it, but if he's saying it, and what I know about him and his background and his history, if John's saying he wants a condo, I know he kind of likes to travel, like, he's always going to want to travel. He's always going to kind of want it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Zamora's always going to kind of be into athletic stuff. So if I'm not athletic, like, yeah, he might not ever tell me, like, I need you to be working out. But, like, I've inputted enough stuff. The man's working out. He's doing stuff like, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, they're ideas off the cuff, but, like, they're us. Like, it's you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why these conversations are never actually just conversations, because they're like, you're not saying it to someone you just met yet tomorrow or today. Like, yeah, I've been thinking about getting a condo, blah, blah. They might just input that, like, oh, that was a cool combo. Like, cool. I don't fucking know this guy. So maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. You say it to your girl who you're with. She's like, you're also doing every day. You're like, where can I see us going? Where can I see us going? Where can I see us going? So she's now like, if I don't want condos, he's not going to like me. Like,
which is an assumption, but I feel you.
It's an assumption,
but think about how every single, when you're in a relationship, think about how everything that's being said to you kind of informs your opinion moving forward and the actions you make.
100%.
Like, if my partner said to me, I'm not really,
especially if it's new.
Yeah, if it's new. Let's say my partner said, yeah, I'm thinking, more condos and houses or whatever. If they're saying that to me, and I genuinely see a future between us, what that's going to do in my head is go, okay, so maybe I should like start putting this amount of money away so that we can get a condo, right? Even though
on your own though.
Even though she never even explicitly said,
I want you to do this.
I want you to do this. I want you to condo. It's just, like nothing is ever really a conversation. Just a conversation when it's someone that you actually love.
Of course not.
My girl, like your girl could tell you, oh, I really like fucking macaroons, like off the cuff one day.
And you see macaroons on the shelf. Like,
you see macaroons on the shelf like next week. Nothing's ever just a conversation.
Exactly.
Like
100%.
You remember everything.
Bodies.
100%.
Yeah.
No, that's a great question.
Cool. There you go.
That's definitely, there is nothing that's just a conversation with your partner. And I think that is why I believe in this. It doesn't exist, but that's why I believe in this trial, like this dating trial relationship and then relationship, because all that shit you say in this trial relationship, you can navigate to be like, can I do this? Can I not do this? Because once you're in it, the only alternative is breaking up if you can't do it, or if you're not, or you compromise, or you conform. Sorry, not compromise. You conform to make it work because that's what they want now. Yeah, right. Like,
but then are you really happy and all that?
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Right.
And you're like, I'm not gonna break up. I just got into like, so like, but I think it's
just met my parents. I can't do that.
Right, but I think if it's normal to have this, I know it's not possible, but if to have this trial dating period, like, can we date as boyfriend and girlfriend and kind of see how we do this without like
sign these terms and conditions,
without the heartbreak? Yeah. No, like seriously, like. I like you, and that's why Zamora was saying, like, ask if the person wants a relationship, because they might say yes or no, but if they say yes, they're like, okay, cool. And then when you get into a relationship, there still needs to be a moment of time where you're like, can we do this relationship thing without like getting super deep? Like, there's no way to request it because it's just not, it's not possible. Yeah. But like, I would love if there's a way to be like, let's get into a relationship. Let's see this. Don't dive like super deep, but like be yourself. I'll be myself.
Baby steps into it.
And if this doesn't work, can we leave this like amicably? Like, because if you when you don't do that, it's like, oh, you're my boyfriend now. Heartbreak. Like, if it doesn't work, it's heartbreak right away. Yeah. That's just what happens. Versus like
getting your stuff back.
Like, I don't even know this relationship's gonna work, and neither do you. Can we just do this and see if this even works, and then we kind of move? All people are doing is now you get into a relationship. It might not be working, but you're like, let me fight through it. I told
you, most people fall into relationships. Yeah. I fell into a fucking 3-year relationship off of Tinder, bro. Off of the strength of Tinder and like just being around the person all the time. Being around the person all the time and hooking up like frequently. Like a lot of people just fall into relationships. So that's why I said the question doesn't even need to be super hard. Yes, when you're in that trial phase, I'd be definitely asking super hard, specific questions, and I hope they do the same to me.
Yes.
But off rip, I'm just gonna start asking people like, do you even want a relationship?
Yeah.
Do you want? I can say personally, I'm not at even though I'm almost 30. I know some women looking at it might think it's weird for me to feel this way, but I've never actively been saying to myself, I need a partner. I need a relationship. I need a person that I feel like I can just grow with and do all this stuff. If that happens to be a relationship, sure. But I'm not actively saying I need someone else in my life to help me do what I need to do.
It's not true.
So there's people walking around that are like that.
Yeah. So therefore, if I say to someone, hey, like, do you want a relationship or do you want someone to just check in on you every day? Do you want I know you want casual sex, but do you actually just want someone to check in and be like, hey, how you doing? What you got to do this week?
You want the relationship features?
It's not. It really sounds like that. But
no, but I understand.
I understand. And I know for a fact. Me saying this, some people will be like,
he doesn't want to commit.
It's
blah,
not.
blah.
It's not. No, but for real, man.
That.
Like after you've been in a lot of relationships and you realize like how they go about dating and what it is that they actually want. It's like, listen, do you actually want a relationship, or do you want someone to just help keep you accountable and like literally just check in on you to know that you're okay?
It's the features.
Yeah.
Like I've definitely side with that, and I think if for being completely candid, like I want kids.
Yeah.
I'm a product of a broken home. My parents are never together like that. I'm close with both of them, but I just don't want my kid to be me in terms of have to go back and forth, have to travel, have to have custody. I moved freaking 12 times in my life, been to 10 different schools. Like I don't want that for a kid. I don't want my kid to see me arguing with his mom. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that. So I've only wanted marriage to avoid that. But I don't want marriage.
Yeah. Like, you just want the union of,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I just know that to do that, you have to be married in order, for the most part, in order to know that your partner's always going to be there. Because like, that's what marriage does.
I get you.
But if I could find someone that, like, I'm still down to get married, but like, I don't necessarily need it, you know? But if I could find someone that's like, yo, like, I definitely want to have kids too. I don't want to have a broken home, whatever. I can commit to you, you can commit to me, and we have this kid together. I don't necessarily need to be married to you.
It's
like
common law.
Sure. Like, I just want to know that my fucking mother and my kid is gonna be there, and I'm gonna be there for her.
Yeah, and they get both of them.
I don't necessarily need the construct. I just want my kids to be like, my mom's here, my dad's here.
Yeah,
that's what I need. Yeah. But I feel like in order to get that, I got to marry someone, because otherwise the girl's gonna run around.
Because she's like, oh, he's not serious. He didn't want to lock it down.
So like, I'm really doing it for the idea that I want, not because I want the idea of marriage. I'm doing it because that's the only way in societal theory to get that outcome. And no woman's really gonna agree to having my youth and not being held down officially. So you just do. Like, you just do it. All right, I guess this is the only way to get what I want, to get my benefit.
But see, like everything that you just said, that would be a very interesting conversation
100%
to have with a girl that you think, like, you know, oh, I could see myself in the future with you, but I don't know yet.
Right.
That would be an interesting conversation, because
and I think that conversation will push people away. And it does. And if it does, then it does.
But this is the thing. That's
a great conversation.
It could very well push people away, but it could also, everything in life is just, you do want to learn how to empathize with people, right? So if I'm imagining hearing that from a woman's perspective, like a woman telling me, I'm already an empathetic person, but I would hear that and go, that all makes perfect sense. Like, I would hear that and I'd say, I don't know yet if that aligns with me, even though realistically it actually does. Like, I agree with you. But I actually can't fault you for that. Like, based on what you said, I'm just now going to stop talking to you altogether. Like, that's when it comes down to, like, what do you actually want out of this? You know, like, when you looked at me the first time we started dating, because this is the other bullshit thing about dating. Now that I think about it, is I asked you, do you want to be in a relationship? Yes or no? Like, what is it that you actually want? Right? Their end goal is most people's end goal is to get married.
Right.
But you're going through this whole trial phase with a person to determine whether or not you actually want to get married to them. And for me, I personally feel like you would know within the first year whether or not you could actually marry said person in the future. You know what I'm saying? Like, definitely. It could be quick.
Yeah, but you'll learn enough in a year.
I think if you're doing your due diligence, on both sides, you'll know. Not just
cruising through it.
Yeah, you'll know within a year, especially at this age in our life.
Yes.
Which is why it's like, I would ask that question, what do you want? Because if you know that you want to get married, you're going to know really quickly whether or not I'm the type of dude that, like, you'd want to get married to.
Yes.
And we can mitigate all these problems that'll happen. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if a girl tells me, like, I want to get married, I'm already starting to think, okay, so now I'm going to start looking at you differently to determine, does this make sense?
Will this work? Yeah.
Am I going to waste your time and start, like, fooling around with you knowing that's what you want? Like, come on. Like, you know?
So I think, based on what you're saying, I think I would do better with someone who says, I'm not sure. I think,
and you would just be riding it out with them. I see you. Yeah.
I think because if I know for a fact that, like, I would like to get married, but I'm not like, yes, need. I think if someone's like, I definitely want to get married. Like, I think I'm already not pushed back, but I think I'm already not for you.
But but you know what?
If you're there, which is fine, but you want that so bad that you will do anything to get that.
See, not because then I don't trust it. Yeah, I wouldn't trust it either.
Not because nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, you want that idea, but it doesn't.
But you want that idea, period.
Yeah, that's wild.
If it's not me, if you want someone needs to fucking marry me,
you just want marriage,
and I need to love that person, and they need to want to marry me, and that's perfectly fine to want. But I'm telling you right now, like, I might not marry you. I might. No, but I might. But I'm not. It's not 100%.
That's what I'm here for.
Which is not fair to you to even start. Totally. If you're like, no, I definitely get married.
On top of what Ryan is saying, it's the fact that regardless of me as a person, they already know this.
Yes,
they already know.
You're not even part of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, you remove me from the situation. They already know I want to get married by this time, or I just want to get married, period.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. I actually respect that, but it's like, for me, when I hear that, all I'm thinking is, I'm not ready yet. Like, I'm genuinely not.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm with that too.
I feel like that's already
behind, period.
I feel like this is already a bad starting off point.
Because what if they start looking at you and be like, well, how are you not ready yet? I'm ready. Where's the ring? And you're like, chill, man. Like,
it's not even chill. It's like,
to figure my life out.
I actually don't know.
Yeah,
it's not chill. It's just like, I don't know. And that has nothing to do with not wanting to be committed. It's just, there's so many social constructs. There's people's upbringing. There's, if someone comes from a family, everyone's married all the time, then they're like,
and the world's very different now.
That's all they're gonna want. Everyone's married. I need to be married. Their mom's telling them, go find a man to marry. Like, you don't know how everyone's raised. So if in their brain they're like, I want to get married, there's nothing you can do about that. And if you don't marry them, you are the problem.
We talked about the whole broken family thing, and it's like, imagine there's so many things that people just don't think about when it comes to dating and having this whole conversation. Imagine you come from a family where everything was gravy with your family for years. Like, in my situation, my parents were married for like years, right? Like, nearly 30 years. No, not 30 years, over 20 years. And they just got a divorce, right? So for me, when I look at it, it's like, I look at the situation like, well, that's kind of like how life works. Like, I'm glad they got a divorce instead of just
slaving through it
and being unhappy for like the later part of their years, right? Like, I'm not a fan of seeing it happen, but that's how life works, right? But there are people who have family members that are like, down on their throat, like, you got to get married to their daughters. Like, they're telling their daughters, you got to find a nice man. You have, and they're being like traumatized and just thinking, if I don't get one, like, what does that say about me? Right?
Yeah,
and then you have people like I just said, imagine you see a good relationship and then it fizzles out and then people get a divorce. Now it's changed my opinion on how relationships and marriages work. I'm like, it's not always going to be perfect. Sometimes it'll work, sometimes it doesn't. But like, imagine me having that conversation to a woman who wants marriage, and I'm like,
you can't win that. You can't win that
because I know that it might not work out. Doesn't mean I don't want to entertain it.
No, and the thing is, you know, it might not work out only from your experience.
Exactly,
and they haven't experienced that. So for them, they're like, it works. You just got to work for it. You're like, oh, okay.
No, but and you're like, there's intangibles. There's different situations.
But it's like, again, like what Zorma was saying, I said them, like, you're mashing two people's lives together. Yeah. My life is like, I've seen broken marriages nonstop. You've seen successful marriages nonstop. In your mind, this shit works. In my mind, it doesn't.
It does not.
So like, if you and I fall in love with each other, we're going to hit that fucking wall at some point, and you're going to be like, this works. You're just not serious. And I'm going to be like, it actually doesn't work. I am serious. And I still don't want it. But I still want you. And you're like, well, you can't have me because you marry me. Like, so now what? Now you're breaking up a fucking two people in love with each other because they have things that they view differently.
Yeah, that's wild.
Which just sucks. But it's like, we're not breaking up. We're not even breaking up because we don't work. We're breaking up because you want something else.
Yeah.
We want one thing totally different.
Not even because we're not work. Like, our sex, everything, we're great.
Yeah.
Travel.
It's just that
we
thing.
Have fucking carousel of photos.
Yeah.
Great, happiness.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about, okay, so now it's been 3-4 years together. Now
where's my ring?
And I'm like, I thought we were good. Oh yeah, we're good. But like, you know.
Yeah.
You're
and now there's a fucking wrench that just came out of nowhere because you just want something.
I would hear like an Audible Records like skip. And I'd be like, what?
You know how many relationships just die because someone just wants something?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
That was a good episode, guys.
Wow. Yeah, appreciate it. Let's have me on, man. I appreciate that.
I think we good.
Yeah. How long is this?
This is our
long.
This is our come
140.
down.
An hour 40 minutes.
This is our come down now. Our energy was high for a while.
Yeah.
But moral of the story, communicate. Ask questions. Ask tough questions. Ask easy questions. And I think a lot of things can be solved if people are fucking honest. There's no need to pretend. Not for you, not for me. Like there's actually there's never a benefit of pretending. It's actually never proven to. You might get through a fight. You might get through this one. But eventually, you're like, I'm done pretending.
In the long term,
there's never a benefit. So drop your socials, Mr. Bino.
You can find me at Don't Cheese Me or at Don't Cheese Me B on Twitter, but usually IG for any sort of food snack reviews, racing things, or anything else.
You just got your little thing with Harvey's, no?
Oh yeah, I got a Harvey's deal. I'm a brand partner. That's a wild, weird thing about 2020.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm a brand partner through at least till the end of next year, which is. I mean, it's cool. I eat food anyways, so I'll do it to get paid. I'll do that. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's good.
So yeah, God is good. I'm grateful. That's why 2020's been crazy, but I'm grateful for it. And TSN Pod's been wonderful too. And yeah, looking forward to see what's next.
Are you ever going to change your name?
From Don't Cheese Me?
Yes.
Absolutely not.
You're never going to grow up?
I mean, I'm grown right now.
Are you though?
I mean,
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I love it. No, it's. I wish I had it on Twitter, man. The Don't Cheese Me Twitter page has been dead for like 7 years.
Really?
And I'm like, give me the handle. Like, what are we doing? Give it to me. It's mine.
Morris had an issue for years.
I had that issue.
Like, give me the handle.
Trying to get Top Boy, and man was like, "That's cool, $5,000." I'm like, "Fuck out of here,
this
bro."
one doesn't even answer it because the page is dead. Like, they don't even access it. I'm like, yo, Twitter, verify me and give it to me. You can find me on tsn.ca. Give me the blue check. I want to have a blue check party post COVID and have a good time.
This guy.
That's all I want. Hang out with the homies.
Thank you, bro. Until next week, guys. We've been consistent as fuck.
Yeah.
Consistency is fucking key.
It really is.
Good night, guys.
Peace.
We out of here.
Hello? We need to talk.
We need to talk.
We need to talk. We need to talk. We need to talk.